Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your next cast. In today's episode, I want to share with you a very effective and very inexpensive swim bait. And that's the bait you see swinging right there. It's made by Berkley and it's called the Pogy Swim and Shad. It's 3-inch, and the color that I happen to be fishing with today at this pond is called Shad. And the way that I fish this bait is throwing out parallel to the bank, or as parallel as you possibly can, and then swimming it back to you with light twitches back and forth, almost like a jerkbait. And what you'll find is bass will follow it, and as you get closer and closer, boom, they will light it up. And there's fish number one. I've actually had a lot of success with this bait, but this was the first time I was able to go out and fish at a pond and get video of multiple fish catches with it. The great thing about this bait is that it has a great vibrating tail. And the tail just kind of pulsates back and forth as you're swimming it, and then as you give it that slight jerk, it kind of accentuates that action. Combine that with throwing parallel to the bank, and especially if you're fishing in a pond, it's pretty irresistible to fish if the pond you're fishing in, has largemouth bass in it. And boom, there goes another one. And so the other great thing I like about this bait is that it's very durable. I don't get every fish catch on this video that happened, but I probably caught 5 or 6 bass. I had to switch to another one. The other good thing is they were choking this thing. I mean, they were really getting that bait down, so that tells you they really wanted it. So then I ended up switching sides with my dad and my brother, who you saw earlier, and now I'm fishing along this part of the pond. And as you can see, I'm still going parallel. It's just a different direction, but I'm still going parallel to another side of the bank. And still doing the light twitches. And same result. Even though this guy's a little bit smaller than the other ones. And here's where your equipment does make a difference, because if you see these trees and overhanging limbs, you want to be far away from that. You can see where my bait just went into the water. You want to be able to make a long cast to that, almost to where it seems like the bait falls out of the tree or falls from a leaf and hits the water and comes back to you. That's another technique that I like to use. And sure enough, bass will follow it and they'll light it up. And this one was a much nicer one.
Yeah, you left a couple over here. I would agree. I think you do. I think the other one's probably the best part.
So then I end up throwing one more time before I get ready to change to a different spot. And I'm just going to sling it as far as I can. I don't know if you can see it drop in this frame, but I just threw it as far as I could and started reeling. I didn't really shake the rod tip too much, just lightly, and boom. Sure enough, at this point, my confidence is sky high, and I'm pretty much believing every cast is going to be better than the last cast, and every cast is going to be a fish. And it also helps if you have on pants and boots, because who knows what kind of bushes and trees and plants I'm walking in and stepping in. And there goes my dad walking by. He's going back to the truck. So what I'm going to do now is actually switch to a different side. Sorry for having the sun in your face. I didn't realize that was going to happen, but I came back to the other side where I was before, And you can see on this cast, I throw straight out just to see what's going to happen if I throw straight out. Again, still jerking the rod lightly, but nothing happened. But I also want you to see this bait, what it looks like. Again, this is the shad color of the Pogy swimming shad. And now what I'm going to do is throw parallel, or as parallel as possible. You can see where the bait hit the water, and literally I'm just swimming it right along the bank as natural as a shad or minnow would fish in a pond. And then sure enough, there it is. This one was a little bit further out. But was still a nice fish.
Fellas, you not gonna believe this. A hook in his mouth.
So the amazing thing about that fish is that it already had a hook in its mouth. So thankfully, I got that hook out, of course, plus my hook. Now, I don't want to mislead you and think that every single cast was a fish catch, because it wasn't. We were out there for probably 2.5 to 3 hours, and while the fishing was good, there were a lot of casts that were made where there were no fish caught. But if you're going to fish this bait, or fish period, you have to learn patience and just stay with it. I've also at this point switched up to a chartreuse color. I believe it's called Shiner Chartreuse. It's the same bait, just a different color. And as you can see, same result. So at this point, I'm thinking it's not necessarily the color, it's the action of the bait that's really drawing them in. And so especially when you're fishing from the bank, you want to practice patience because again, sometimes it happens good, but not all the time. And so at this point of the trip, my confidence is really high. I'm catching a lot of fish, and you can see that chartreuse color right there. But I am feeling very, very good, and confidence is a great thing when you're fishing. The more confident you can be, the better. And so as I close out this video with one last scene, hopefully you can now see why I say this is a good bait to have. Again, for 5 in a pack that you can buy for $2.99 or $3.99, it's very inexpensive and can be very effective. So I'm not one of those people that believe you have to buy really expensive lures to go out and consistently catch quality bass. And today turned out to be a really great trip on this pond. So maybe on your next cast, this might be a bait that you want to throw, especially if you're new to fishing or you just want to try something different. The last tip that I will leave with you is pay attention to your surroundings, but also make sure you focus in on your fish. So in this last clip, you're gonna see my brother who's in the background, if you look straight ahead, catching a fish. And because I'm focused in on him, I end up getting hooked up as well on a fish. And because I'm watching what he's doing, well, I'll just let you see what happens. Don't make this mistake on your next cast. Thanks for watching.
You